Hey, peace, love, and blessing. I just wanted to come on here and share something that I found quite interesting to me and just wanted to share it with you all. I was reading in the book of St. John, the 5th chapter, and it's talking basically about the man at the pool of Bethesda. I'm just going to read part of it. Also, I'm going to read another book, but I just wanted to share this with you. It talks about after these, St. John, 5th chapter, starting at verse 1. It says, after these things, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there was at Jerusalem a baptismal pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 entrances. And at these entrances a great many sick people were lying, the blind, the lame, and the crippled. And they were waiting for the water to be stirred up. For an angel of God went down at a certain time to the baptismal pool and stirred up the water. And whoever went in first after the stirring of the water was healed of any disease he had. A man was there who had been sick for 38 years. Jesus saw this man lying down, and he knew that he had been waiting for a long time. So he said to him, "Do you wish to be healed?" The sick man answered, saying, "Yes, yes, my Lord. But I do not have a man, but I have no man when the water is stirred up to put me into the baptismal pool. But while I am coming, another one goes in before me." Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your quilt and walk." And the man was healed immediately, and he got up and took up his quilt and walked. And that day was the Sabbath. And I'm reading from the Aramaic Bible from Dr. George M. Lamnes. And, the thing I found about that scripture that was quite interesting, the Bible talked about how this man was there at this pool waiting for 38 long years to be healed. And it was the tradition of, I guess, of the custom of the people during that time that they believed that an angel would come and touch the water, and that whoever got into the pool was healed. And so I'm quite sure Jesus had been past that place many, many, many times, and he saw that man, and he asked him a simple question. He asked him, did he want to be healed? Did he want to be made whole? And the man responded, I don't have anybody to help me to get into the pool, because when I'm getting ready to get in there, there's someone that gets in there before me. And Jesus never really responded to what he said. He just asked him, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be made whole? And I want to read a little something from the Aquarian Gospel that relates to that. It's talking about how when Jesus was asking this man, do you want to be healed? Now listen to this. This is the Aquarian Gospel, and it's chapter 19, verses, let me see. I'm going to start at verse 1. At verse 1, it says, and the feast time came, and Jesus and the 12 went to Jerusalem. Upon that day, before the Sabbath day, they reached the Mount of Olives, and they tarried at an inn before the Mount of Olives on the north. And in the early morning of the Sabbath day, they went in through the sheep gate to Jerusalem, the healing fountains of Bethesda. Now, Bethesda is the house, means the house of mercy or house of bread. Remember that. Near the gate was thronged about with people who were sick, for they believed that at a certain time an angel came and poured a healing virtue into the pool, and those who entered first and bathed would be made whole. And Jesus and the 12 were standing near the pool. And Jesus saw a man nearby who had been stricken 38 without a hand to help. He could not move. And Jesus said to him, "My brother, man, would you be healed?" The man replied, "I earnestly desire to be healed, but I am helpless. And when the angel comes and pours the healing virtue in the pool, another who can walk steps in the fountain first, and I am left unhealed." And Jesus said, Who sends an angel here to prioritize this pool, to potentize this pool for just a favored few? Now listen, it says, "I know it is not God, for he deals just the same with everyone. One has no better chance in heaven's healing fountain than another. The fount of healing is in your soul. It has a door locked fast. The key is faith. And everyone can have this key and may unlock the door and plunge into the healing fountain, and be made whole." Jesus, at this point, when he asked the man, "Do you want to be healed and do you want to be made whole?" The man's response was, "I have no one to help me." He was busy looking on the outside of himself for help. Jesus asked him, "Do you want to be healed? Do you want to be made whole?" Jesus was trying to get this guy to realize and understand that the healing that you're looking for is already within you. You don't have to wait to get into a pool. You don't need an outside situation. You don't need someone outside of yourself to come and help you, to allow you to be healed or to heal your situation or to help you, whatever the situation may be. Jesus let him know that what he needed was within him, and that all he had to do was connect to the truth and the life and the spirit of God that was within him and ignite that truth with faith that was already within him. And that's what we have to do in life. We have to activate the power that is within us because we already have it. Many times we seek answers from others. We think that we have to get directions from outside of ourselves, but the answer is within ourselves. The Bible tells us in all of our ways to acknowledge the Lord. Where do you acknowledge God? You acknowledge God within yourself. For God dwells within you. For the scripture tells us that we are what? Made in the image and the likeness of God. And let me just interject this. There's nothing that you can do that can taint the presence of God within you. There's nothing that you can do that can change God's idea about who you are. That's already established. You are a creation of God. There's no sin, no offense that you can do that can cause you to be disconnected with God. The only way we're disconnected with God is in our thinking. when we choose to think that way. Not that God thinks that way, but when we choose to think that way. So then we have to allow ourselves to get realigned. And this was the purpose of Jesus coming here, to get mankind realigned with the Creator, to realize that God is already within you. Whatever it is that you need, it is already there. What does God say? I am that I am, or I am that I am. I will be whatever it is that you need me to be. But you've got to go within in order to find out what it is that you need God to be for you. If you need him to be a protector, then you've got to dwell on that divine protection because it's within you. You've got to be able to connect to the power and the presence of God that is within us, because too many times in Christendom, we look on the outside of ourselves. We're always looking for Jesus on the outside, or we're always looking for the power on the outside, or we're always looking for someone else, some other person that we think has the power and we don't. You have the power. You have the presence of God. You have the life within you. Connect to that life that is within you. It says right here in the Aquarian, it says right here, wait a minute, I think I lost my page. Wait a minute. Let me get back to it. It says right here, no one has better chance in heaven's healing fountain than anyone else. Everyone can connect to God. There's no special person that can connect to God. You can connect to the presence of God when you acknowledge the Spirit, when you take time to acknowledge the Spirit that is within you. If you feel like you're feeling a little down, or your body is just a little off and you feel sick, you can heal yourself through the power and the presence of God. God is within you. We have to learn how to use that divine power and presence that is within us. It says, for the fount of health is what? In your soul. It's in your being. And it has a door. You have to go within. Jesus said, go to your Father that is within secret and shut the door behind you, or shut the door on the rest of the world when you go within. You know, meditation is a very powerful tool, or just sitting in the silence is a very powerful tool. There's nothing wrong with praying, you know. Praying is a wonderful thing, but meditation is the best, simply because you quiet yourself. You cause yourself to come into a place where you are still and you're quiet, and you're allowing the presence of God that is within you to minister to your body. Actually, silence is a prayer in itself. We are taught in Christendom how to run our mouths and chatter, and we just repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. But when you sit in the silence, you realign yourself to the truth that is within you, and you connect yourself to the faith that is within you. And you are able to be victorious. You're able to allow yourself to be healed. You're able to come out of whatever situation you're in, because you have aligned yourself with the presence of God that is within you. God in you, what? The hope of glory. Not God outside of you, God in you. And it was Jesus that connected this man to the presence and the life of God that was within him, so that he didn't have to think that he could only get healed if he went to the pool. He needed somebody to help him, or he had to go outside of himself. We have to lose that type of consciousness where we think God is on the outside of us. God is right there, ever present. God in me, through me, as me, moving in me. Jesus said that when you see me, you see the Father. When you look in the mirror and you see yourself, you ought to see the Father. Because in him I live and I move and I have my being. Jesus came to reconnect us to God so that we could be in right relationship in mind, thought, and in body and spirit in God. You can't ever find anything outside of spirit, outside of yourself. You have to go within. You have to go within. Because if you don't go within, you'll go without. So I want to encourage you today to take time just to go within. Whatever it is that you need in life, go within. Get the direction from the Spirit of God that is within you. I'm not saying don't trust leaders and things of that sort, but you need to learn to trust your spirit. Trust your own soul. Your own spirit, your own soul, your own spirit will not lead you wrong. The Spirit of God in you will not lead you wrong. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and what? He shall direct thy paths. Acknowledge the Spirit of God within you, and you won't go wrong. All right, peace.